Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get to the real news, Russ. So Vinegar Syndrome dropped 2 titles on Black Friday, 2 surprise titles. One that a lot of people were anticipating because I think they had been teasing it, and that was for a movie called The Keep. Are you familiar with The Keep?
Michael Mann.
Michael Mann's The Keep.
I've never seen it, but it has a notorious history.
It does, and I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
The other title that they announced, which I was not expecting at all, which is the title we're going to talk about first, and The Keep can hold on.
I love how we're focusing on Sliver.
And that's Sliver.
Oh, Lord.
Here we go.
Oh, God. Matt.
Sliver got a surprising, out of nowhere, 4K announcement from Vinegar Syndrome. And you know what's the most surprising thing about this for me? Is how bad the packaging turned out for this thing. This packaging is so sick. Like, when you pull this out, it's like, this is like the back, I think, of it, with Sliver going all the way down and all the different televisions, like with the eyeballs. Everything okay, Russ? Russ had to fix his pants for Sliver.
What about the panties?
He was like, geez, let me make sure nothing's showing before we start talking 90s Sharon Stone and Billy Baldwin. So this is one of those ones that slides out, and you can see the groove there where, you know, you pull it out from, and each of those television slots is, you know, like kind of, you can see through it into the case. I just think it looks so cool.
It does. And you and I, we're very familiar with this film, and we remember the setup that Billy had, man. That's very central to the plot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's clever.
It's very clever.
I think more thought was put into this packaging than the actual movie.
I think you're right. They really thought this packaging through to make it little tiny TVs, and it is so friggin' awesome. Hats off to Vinegar Syndrome as always. They are on top of their game with packaging, I swear. Whoever's their art director or whoever makes these decisions, or whatever companies they're collaborating with to get these types of slipcases made, bravo.
Yeah.
I forgot when I saw the guy that directed this, Philip Noyce. I remembered his name for some reason, and I couldn't remember why. Philip Noyce, but that's his name, Philip Noyce. Do you know that he directed Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger with Harrison Ford? And this movie,
I believe it.
This movie was in the middle. It's like one of those things, like, which one of these 3 doesn't belong?
He likes that red, white, and blue motif.
Like, you've got 2 Harrison Ford looking straight into your soul moments here. And then you got Sharon Stone getting banged by Billy Baldwin and Tom Berenger creepily looking over the title.
Matt, let's get therapeutic here for a second.
Hit it.
All right. I believe I received shit in the past for accusing 90s Harrison Ford of being, well, let's put it nicely, asleep. So when I see this trio of trash, it makes sense to me. It's just like, this isn't crazy. Like, where are you seeing this grand distinction?
Because 2 have Harrison Ford, looking serious about his country, and the other's got Sharon Stone getting banged on the front.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like Philip Noyce took a little like dip into like, let's get horny town, and then back into the political thrillers.
That is true. Why didn't Adrian Lynn or somebody,
I don't know,
make Sliver?
But you mentioned
Brian De Palma make it.
You mentioned The Keep having a troubled history. I know I have a surface level amount of information on what this film is or where it came from. I've seen it, but I didn't realize that this movie has a troubled history as well.
Sliver?
What
do you mean? What's the trouble?
All right, you want to know the trouble?
I don't remember. Dude, we grew up in this time. I remember Basic Instinct being so controversial and everyone talking about that, where Sliver landed with a thud. If you were around at that time, that dumbass UB40 song was way more popular than the movie.
Which doesn't match this movie at all.
And people don't even remember it was from this movie.
Because it doesn't even match whatsoever. It's the stupidest pairing of song and movie I've ever heard. What?
No, it fits.
It does not fit.
Yes, it fits because the song is just like the movie. It's stupid, but you can kind of enjoy it.
Yeah, why not?
I saw this before Basic Instinct. I didn't see Basic Instinct. I saw this. And this was in that era where, like, late at night, a movie like this would come on, and because you didn't know anything about anything, you're just kind of holding on and wondering, am I going to see something here? Like, you know, like if you just manage to stay up long enough as a child, a young man, parents are asleep, you have access to whatever, and you do get that in this movie. But I knew watching this that this wasn't really great, but for some reason, I don't know, the vibe of it I did kind of like. I don't know.
I jerked off to it. Yeah.
I did not.
I did. I was like 11 or 12. I didn't have
I don't remember doing that. Maybe I did.
Listen, I was 11 or 12 and I didn't have access to porn. I didn't have a father, dude. So I did not have access to porn and I had to rely on Hollywood movies. So like, yeah, Sliver holds a special place in my heart.
Thank you.
It's completely embarrassing. If I watch it today, it's like, what was I think? Like, really? I got something out of this?
It's my first time seeing Billy Baldwin's bare ass on screen. I'll never forget that
haunts
scene.
Me. I know, dude.
I'll never forget that scene.
This is the days of VCRs, dude. You had to you had to wait because he like runs out of nowhere.
He walked into his apartment. She's like wandering off, and then all of a sudden he just comes into frame, but his ass cheek is like half the frame.
But see, it wasn't really that part. You skipped that, because he like throws her up.
Yeah, and then they start banging, but his ass just comes into frame, and he stops so you can see it, and then he slowly walks towards her. She doesn't know, and he like does this.
But then she starts riding him.
That's a different part.
No, it's the same scene, but it like
later on it skips around.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sex they had.
It cuts to what we described, I believe, then missionary.
You've been spending too much time with your vibrator.
For all my other fellow young horny men out there, I'm going to take this one layer deeper. You ready for this next layer?
Oh, Lord.
The next layer is, and this isn't even really Sliver related.
I'm interested because I can't be alone. That's a really funny, universal, I think, early 90s if you're my age.
What?
Maybe not this movie specifically, but it was always something strange, like something that when you look at it through today's lens as an adult, when you do have access to actual pornography or whatever floats your boat, it's hilarious to look back and think, wow, it's like the Stone Age. Like, that's what I
couldn't believe this is what got me off.
Yeah, like that's what you had to work with back then. It's insane.
Billy Baldwin's bare ass grinding.
Dude, we've evolved as a species.
Just straight up grinding.
But you know why they did that? They want the money.
They want the money. They want the money. Well, the next
Billy Baldwin's ass in there because they want the money.
Dude.
They want the money.
Dude, this is how far so yeah, you're right. This movie wasn't great. Billy Baldwin's next movie, same wavelength of thinking where it's like, okay, this is like looks to be maybe a provocative movie. It's on late at night. I'm just going to hang in there and maybe something's going to happen. His next movie after this, he was in a movie with Cindy Crawford called Fair Game. Do you remember this? Or does anyone out there remember this?
Yeah.
Because at the time, Cindy Crawford was huge. And when this was shown, but when this was shown and previews were shown, again, as a young man, I was like, is there like a sex scene with Cindy Crawford? Like she's like a Sports Illustrated, like whatever. Like that does not seem right. Like there's no way that's true. There is a little something in this movie.
Not a damn thing.
Man, Billy Baldwin knew what he was doing, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm bringing this back to is Billy Baldwin for like a moment in the 90s. He seemed like the go-to, like trashy, like let's, get like a steamy movie and throw him in it. Even though Sharon Stone came out for Sliver and said that the producer told her to sleep with him in real life, which would then improve their chemistry because his performance wasn't that great. And she was like, oh, so I've got to fix that shit?
I mean, my boss told me to do the same thing at Target.
Let me tell you why this movie was troubled. And I can honestly see why this movie was panned, whereas Basic Instinct was not, because this is definitely not that level of
let's make
scintillating.
No, let's be clear. Basic Instinct is a great movie.
Correct.
Basic Instinct is phenomenal.
Yes.
Sliver is not.
Correct. It is not. And that's why, and that's Vinegar Syndrome's lane. Yeah. And that's fine.
But it's entertaining.
It is.
If you saw it as, like I said, at a certain age, it is. It's nostalgic.
Apparently, this movie was this movie had a completely different ending with a completely different killer. For people that don't even know what this is, it's like an erotic thriller where Sharon Stone moves into a Sliver building in New York City, and she meets all these characters, and there's some murders that are happening, and it's like what's going on in that building? It's
like the dumbest Hitchcockian De Palma-esque concept.
There's some surveillance going on, which is what all these TVs are about. But I guess the killer that's revealed at the end of this is not the person that was revealed as the killer at the end of the first one,
wasn't it?
I'm the devil.
Well, are we spoiling Sliver here for everyone?
Sorry.
Is that what we're doing, Russ? We're going to spoil Sliver? People paid good money to buy this and blind buy it based on our recommendation.
It sounds like no one's watched it to the end anyway.
So no one watched it to the end. So a killer is revealed, and it happens to be. I'm not going to say it. You say
I thought we weren't spoiling.
We're not.
Now I'm going to say it.
No. So the killer was supposed to be
Jake.
So the killer,
the Cleveland Indians.
The killer was supposed to be different, and as well as Sharon Stone, sort of turns a little amoral at the end of the original as well. Kind of is like not in on it with the killer, but almost like finds out and doesn't care, doesn't mind, is like in it, like cool with it, sort of a thing. But anyway, I guess the director himself, Philip Noyce, said that, you know, due to him having to change a bunch of things and change the ending and cut a bunch of stuff out, the film is basically unrecognizable to what he wanted it to be. This is the unrated cut, but it's not his director's cut anyway. This is still what the film was.
That's not Noyce.
That's not Noyce. $45 before shipping. It's kind of a tough sell on this movie for 4K, but that slipcover, I mean, I'm
Not
looking at
for
this
me.
like it's an art piece.
This is not a tough sell, man. This is a staple of my childhood.
So you have it on DVD already.
I do.
I don't own this. I've never owned it. I've tried to I've tried to watch
but
it
here, this is
lately,
what
but
hold on,
no
this-
success.
This kind of points to me that, you know, there are aspects of the physical media game that are extremely healthy right now. Because as you said, I own this on DVD. The DVD was bare bones. The only reason I owned it, I believe it was $8.99 the week it came out.
You don't believe me, do you?
Look at all the care that's been put into this.
A lot.
Sliver.
He's come back, the director. He's on here with a full interview.
Nice.
Noise. And he's the one that approved the transfer.
Nice.
Noise again.